guys, in this video we'll talk about a new strategy that we've been using in Darkflame Cleft that was developed by some of my friends. So basically the crux of this strategy is the tank and the healer are going to grab every mob and run straight to the end. And then the DPS are just going to push the cart and meet us there. So there's a couple nuances you need to know. So the first thing is that if you are in the darkness, everyone probably knows this by now, you cannot heal or do any damage. And to counteract that, you need to pick up these candles. You can see them around. When you pick them up, you get this 30-second debuff, and while you have this, you're not in the darkness anymore, so you can play the game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab one and I'm going to run all the way down. You can also use these candles to turn them into the cart, and it'll replenish the light in the cart, which gradually goes down. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just grabbing these and running straight to the end with every mob. Our DPS, however, are going to be pushing the cart. They're going to be in the cart and grabbing candles as they go to feed them to the cart. That is because the cart has a mechanic where if it drops below 90%, then it's eligible to stop, and we really don't want the cart to stop. The whole point of this is that the cart meets us all the way at the end. So they're just running along, grabbing candles, and feeding it to the cart. There's also another mechanic that they need to deal with. So you can see these shuffling horrors. As you can see here, I'm about to tag one. So I tagged this one over here. As you can see, well, you can't really see it, but it's not running at me at all. You can probably see it on the one I'm about to hit here. I tag this one, and instead of going to me, you may think it's a VDH aggro bug, but actually, instead of going to me, it's beelining it for the cart. So that's why DPS need to stay in the cart. Because as soon as you tag these shuffling horrors, they fixate on the cart and go to like channel their thing on them, drain light. And then if your DPS kick, then they just leave and go back to whoever has aggro on them, which is hopefully me. So that's it. I'm just running straight through. By the way, Northern Engineering belt here for speed. Not the most efficient pathing, to be honest, but we are still optimizing it. So basically I just run down, tag every mob, as we mentioned, with Hunt. When VR is up, I can get some distance. You don't really want to be tanking these mobs, even though you can play your character, like there's not really a point. You're basically just like expending resources to tank them, but your DPS can't do damage, so it's like kind of a waste. So run all the way down, and then at the end of the tracks, if you guys know, there are 3 candles here that will permanently replenish themselves, so you can never run out of light down here. As soon as you make it here, you're basically safe from the darkness mechanic. Even if the cart never arrives, you're safe from the darkness mechanic. Worst case scenario, if your DPS fail at pushing the cart somehow, then they can all just run here and play the game like in this area. So anyway, we gather everything. By the way, this pull freaking hurts. It's triple creeper with like literally like, the whole room of shuffling horrors and skittering darknesses. And when these skittering darknesses die, if you guys know the mechanic for the quarter creeper, every corpse near them gives them 10% damage. So there's like 20 corpses here, so they can get like 200% increased damage. You don't want to deal with that. So when they die, you're going to have to cut. One other mechanic to note is that this candle here, you can see it's up for 7 seconds. You cannot pick a candle up while you have this debuff. You need to wait for it to expire and then pick up a candle. I'm kind of gaming that here. I'm like sitting in a candle waiting for this to run out. As soon as it runs out, I pick up a new one. Or I try to pick up a new one and fail, I guess. Yeah, I actually failed picking up a new one, so this is actually super dangerous. I probably should have cheated here. Very lucky that I didn't. So I noticed that I messed up, and I run straight back to the pile to pick one up. Now that I have 30 more seconds to kite these around, and we're good, kind of. That was actually super sketch. Should have done that way better. Ideally, also someone knocks them off this pile, like your Moonkin, or you can Typhoon, or you can grip them, etc. So yeah, we didn't push the cart that well here. As you can see, the cart is like kind of off screen, but it is like close enough. So yeah, that is how you do this area in one pull. Real quick, I will show the DPS POV. This is our Moonkin D Wilkes doing it. Going back here. Okay, this is after Candle King. So the DPS POV, you basically just sit in the cart, and he is dotting here. It's a little risky to dot. I think he's probably fine, but yeah. You basically just sit in the dart, sit in the cart, picking up candles and feeding them to the cart, and that is your whole job. This horror is the one that I tagged earlier. It runs up to the cart, starts channeling, and you just kick it, and then it runs back to the tank. If it doesn't run back to the tank, if someone like accidentally gets aggro or something, then you kind of have to deal with it, I guess, like knock it out so the cart keeps running. So you see it a little bit. But yeah, basically notice how the cart is permanently above 90%. If it ever drops below 90%, then the shuffling horrors that are like fixated on it, if they're in the cart, then it can like mess it up. So basically, this is their whole job. They run around grabbing candles and feeding them to the cart, and that's it. and they also kick. The Moonkin obviously doesn't really need to be there, so yeah. Also, you notice one thing he's doing here. He picked up a candle earlier. He has 20 seconds on his debuff here, so he can just dot the mobs. All right, so that's the DPS POV. That is the strategy we used. As you can see, we are going to 2 chests this 18, which I think is insane pace. And we also use the strategy to time our 19, so I think it's a really good strat for the cart. All right, thank y'all for watching. Peace out.